welcome to Labor Lent. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week edition of the program, we'll be talking about the life and times of Chief Frank Kokori. We also have news stories for you. We will be right back.
The National Union of Chemical, Footwear, Rubber, Leather and Non-Metallic Products employees, led by Babatunde Olatunji, recently organized a conference to mark the International Women's Day celebration. The event is in line with the 2024 theme, Inspiring Inclusion for Women and celebrating their unique perspectives and contributions. The conference emphasized that failure should not deter women, but rather serve as a stepping stone to building confidence and recognition. Women were also encouraged to offer support without undermining leadership responsibilities.
Provide support without removing responsibility. That in as much as you try to support, you must not remove the responsibility of a leader. That is, you shouldn't take away your responsibility. You must be able to draw the line. How do you showcase what you have learned if you cannot even come out? Don't be afraid of failing. You may contest and you don't win, but you shouldn't be afraid of failing. It doesn't mean that you must contest and you win. But each time you do it and you don't win, you are building that confidence and you are building that recognition, even in their minds, that a woman wants to do it.
The event underscored the importance of women as builders of homes and the nation at large, promoting a message of unity, empowerment, and mutual support amongst women from all backgrounds.
Women have been marginalized in the world of work, and it is not enough to, ask for the men's support, ask for the men's permission to thrive in the world of work. We need to inspire ourselves, women. We need to stand up for ourselves. We need to support ourselves in the world of work. I think that women should have more clarity as to the things that we want. I think it's time for us to start demanding. And while we're demanding, we also have to be sure that we are capable of what we're demanding for, because it's not enough to demand for what you cannot deliver. You have to be capable to demand for something that you know that you can deliver properly. So in this time, at this time in the world right now, we need to embrace ourselves. We need to embrace unity. We need to support each other so that the world of work can be a better place for us to work.
The importance of women is inestimable in any society. That is why we are celebrating them every year, and we are equally celebrating the gender, telling them to take their rightful position in the society. Women are very important in building a home. When you are building a home, you are building a nation. If you have a bad home, that means you have a bad nation. And women are people that always, they are the ones that raise children. They nurture our children. And in any way you nurture the children, that is how the world is going to be. If you look at our society, especially in Nigeria, men are taking the leadership position, which we are calling on them to please come. And every encouragement is being given to them by the leadership of this union, so that we begin to see it from the union perspective, how people are taking the leadership position.
It's the final service in honor of foremost trade unionist in Nigeria, Chief Frank Kokori. He was a former General Secretary of the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG. Frank Ovie Kokori has been laid to rest in his hometown, Ovo Inland, in Itop East Local Government Area, Delta State. In attendance at the church service is the Minister of Petroleum, who represented the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Governor of Delta State, the President of NUPENG, members of the House of Representatives, and notable personalities across the country.
Frank Kokori's legacies will live on. This is the man of uncommon courage. He is the man that is selfless, or that was selfless. This was the man who fought for democracy.
The late Kokori was known as a committed and dedicated defender, promoter, and fighter for workers' rights, as well as the democratic rights of citizens. Kive Kokori spoke about the life and times of his father.
He was a nationalist to the core. So for the governor of the state, being from another party, to also attend and show the solidarity that he has shown, I say thank you to him and all the people, and to Nupeng, because Nupeng has been awesome.
Frank Kokori, who spent time in prison due to the battles he fought against military rule in the country, is remembered by his former associates for his contributions to collective struggles for the emancipation of the working people.
Kokori was like a lion, and you know in life, if one lion is leading 1,000 lambs, all the lambs will behave like lion. So because he fought the battle in front, all of us that were behind him, we became lions. That was how Nupeng became the most powerful trade union in Africa. No employer will dare not to pay the salary of oil workers as at when due. We moved from there to call the first political strike by workers in Nigeria. Kokori was in front. Kokori of Nigeria, Kokori of Africa, Kokori of the world. He won the George Mini Labor Award in America, even in Frankfurt University in German Republic, even in The Hague, he got his master's in labor relations. Nobody can never be forgotten. But I have one regret. Nigeria ought to have recognized him while he was alive and give him a national award, whether CUN, MON, but posthumously, I'm still saying that Nigeria should honor
a unique man, father and leader, who have made his marks. The way he was able to combine politics and trade unionism today continue to amaze us, because no labor leader has actually been able to successfully combine both. So we argue that in his days it was because it was military time. But again, that is something you can also take from him. He was able to combine both comfortably, and on both grounds he will continue to remember. As a Democrat and as a true labor leader. Today the man is going home, and as a union, we will continue to miss all the good things he has done and left behind. One of those ones is that he was the first general secretary that came up with a constitution of Nupeng. And that constitution today, Nupeng is standing on.
Frank Kokori was the 7th chairman of the 7th Governing Council of the Michael Imodu National Institute for Labor Studies (MINILS), where he promoted labor education between 2019 to 2022.
Kokori is a very brave person. He's somebody that stood for what is good and what he thinks is right. And everybody knows him for that. He's a labor leader that he can take you to the war front and be in the front. He may be at the back. And even at his age, he never forget his younger days. You can see that that zeal, that passion in him. Whenever he talks to you, you can feel his breath. Whenever he talks, you understand that he's talking from the bottom of his heart. He's not just saying things anyhow. So he's a man that, in fact, he cannot tell his story without Nupeng. And the other one, he said Nupeng is his life. But for us, Nupeng is our life. Because Nupeng has come to be as a tradition to all of us. Nobody goes through the ranks and file of Nupeng and remain the same without being imparted. So he's impart his contribution to the union Nupeng, making it relevant. He was the first general secretary of the union, don't forget. Whatever Nupeng relevance you are seeing today, it is because of the struggle of people like Kokori, who stood strong for the oil and gas workers in this country. Whatever fame we are enjoying today, we cannot talk. People talk about Nupeng. People talk about the democracy, the nation Nupeng. If people like Kokori were not there, we wouldn't have that kind of success. So for us, it's an inspiration So even in his death, we continue to remember his advice, his the things he stands for, and the things he has always told us in terms of taking up the labor struggle, his ethics, his lifestyle can never be forgotten.
We saw him as an icon and a great representative to the Urhobo people, where I come from. And he has shown that he's a man that believes in true democracy and the rule of law. And he showed that he had concern for the average and common Nigerian. And I will also say the common man worldwide. So I was attracted to him because of all those qualities. And having sat beside him several times with the advice that he gave me, I saw that it was impactful and beneficial to me, not just personally and my family, but also to society in general. So I see him as somebody that needs to be appreciated and emulated because of the life he lived, because he lived a selfless life. He struggled and troubled and suffered immensely for what the democracy in Nigeria is enjoying today.
It was an enigma. And when you talk of labor movement, labor struggle, nobody can go ahead of it without mentioning the name of Comrade Frank Kokori. The dividend of democracy we are enjoying today is a result of the selfless service of people like him. We remember the June 12th annulment when everybody kept quiet. It was people like Kokori from Nupeng and Chief Dabibi of Pegasi. They paid the ultimate price. They lost their jobs and they were sent to prison. While people were enjoying the dividend of democracy, nobody remembered them. And that's another thing we are saying. The labor of our heroes past should not be forgotten when they are alive. They should be, you should remember. So that we act as catalysts to the upcoming future, to mobilize them, for the future generations.
On the profile interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with former General Secretary of Nupeng, Comrade Adam Song. He brings us up to speed on the life and times of Chief Frank Kokori as a trade unionist and also a politician, while emphasizing on the need for trade unionists to evolve as the world of work is changing. It's good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you for having me on the program.
A lot have been happening in the world of work, but recently we know that we lost one of the foremost trade unionists in Nigeria, Chief Frank Kokori. First, what does this mean to you, owing to the fact that you worked very closely?
Oh, it's really unfortunate. Death is a necessary end. It will come to each and every one of us. But the death of Kokori, in fact, it is a very, very serious blow to me as a person and to Nupeng as an organization. I happen to be recruited into the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas during the time of Nupeng as the General Secretary, Kokori as the General Secretary. He employed me and as a greenhorn, give me the practical training and coach me all through, like he is my godfather and mentor in the union. So Kokori is many things to many people, but to those of us in Nupeng, he is the symbol of the union. He is the one of the foremost founding fathers who set up the union to be what it is today. So Kokori means much more than you can ever imagine to every single member of Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas, not only to me.
Okay, what would you say actually stood him out from the rest? We know that I, for one, was able to gather during the burial ceremony that he was a good trade unionist and he was also an effective politician. Owing to the fact that right now, as we speak, we know that there are a lot of controversies on how a labor unionist should comport himself or herself. And generally, how would you say he was able to combine both politics and labor, and it was never misunderstood all through?
Yeah, Kokori is gifted. He is a very lucky person. First and foremost, Kokori is very forthright. He doesn't mince word on issues. Whatever his position on any issue, he should make sure that all his associates and subordinates understand his position very, very clearly. So the question of misunderstanding or misquoting or what will be out of it. So Kokori is one officer who will say things as it is, and he will remain on that position until that time. And if he has any reason to change, he will not change behind you, he will change before you. And he will give you reasons why there is need for you to shift. This and much more earn him a lot among his colleagues and his subordinates, especially those of us who are his students. We understand that as a trade union leader, you must be truthful all the time. And you must be all the time very clear and very convincing on your issues.
Okay, very quickly, we understand the fact that it was part of the struggle of June 12th. I wouldn't know if you have one or two things to say about that development.
Yeah, June 12 is one struggle that differentiates Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas from any other union in Nigeria, because it is one struggle that Nupeng spearheaded, that it is not only limited to workers' welfare, but to the goodness of the entire country. It is a struggle that ordinarily politicians and our representatives should have taken, but they failed to, and Nupeng decided to carry it and then mobilize others to join them in the force. And I'm not afraid to say we are enjoying democracy today, but the pillar of this democracy, Nupeng is one of the founding pillars that brought about this democracy to this country today.
So very quickly, during the burial ceremony in the early part of this month, and some of the leadership of Nupeng came up with the idea of the federal government of Nigeria requesting that they should honor him grant to him a national award posthumously. What do you have to say about this request or demand?
Well, I think this request is honestly is surprising to me and surprising to many of us, because the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he was the part of the struggle of Nupeng. He was in Nadeko. And if there is one person who has sacrificed so much in the realization of June's struggle, it is Chief Frank Kokori. Therefore, whatever honor anybody in the struggle for democracy deserves, Kokori should be one of them. So Kokori not only deserved, he merited it to be recognized and honored for his role in the June 12 struggle.
So generally, what are you going to miss about Chief Frank Kokori? Of all the several labor issues that Nigerian workers are faced with, if we want to narrow it down to the oil and gas sector, we would say casualization of workers and many more. Which one of it did Frank Kokori actually tried his best to ensure that there was improvement on?
Casualization. Frank Kokori has done more than enough for casualization. If not for his past efforts, only God knows what would have been the employment like in the oil and gas industry. So Kokori will be remembered as a force that ensured that a reasonable terms of employment is applicable in the oil and gas sector.
What was unique about his leadership, since you are one of his mentees? What would you say was unique about his skills? Could it be negotiation skills? What actually stood him out from the rest, from your own experience with him during his lifetime?
During his lifetime, I have learned to see Kokori as the best negotiator. Kokori is a very, very skillful negotiator. However, he happened to have other lieutenants who are also his carbon copy. So the three of them become the master of negotiation in the oil and gas industry. So Kokori is an epitome of wholesome trade union leader.
So what do you think will be missed about him?
We will miss his leadership, all aspects of his leadership, his fatherly role, his honesty, his outright spokenness, his sincerity of purpose, and he has no sentiment when it comes to official business.
You're the former General Secretary of the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, and that happened to be a role that your mentor actually also held for a while. Looking at the labor sector currently, what are your observations?
Well, my observation is that the issues and the problems of the labor, and in fact, the society generally is changing. So also labor and the leadership and the method must be changing. Because in the past, the way things are done, you can hardly do it this now and get results. So labor leaders should now get up and know that they should be training is a necessary continuation all the time, because as things changes, the also strategy must change. So labor leaders cannot afford to be standstill.
As a veteran trade unionist, what would be your take on unemployment rates in the country? And owing to the fact that the world of work, like you said, is changing, and we are now becoming to experience more of online work compared to the regular traditional on-site job. As a veteran and labor unionist, don't you think there are some adjustments that labor leaders actually have to take as regards this development?
Madam, not only adjustment, there are serious adjustments. Things that are taking our jobs away is not only online things. There are also robots, artificial intelligence. These are all forces working against the regular employment of workers. So these are challenges to the labor leaders. They need to wear their thinking cap and start developing strategies to how they can match these new trends. In our time, we don't face this trend they are facing. It is now left for them to devise means how to match the new trends and checkmate it.
So finally, what would be your words of encouragement to the trade union movement generally, and also for the family of Chief Frank Kokori?
Well, to the family of Chief Kokori, I think Chief Kokori's life is being celebrated. It is not always nice to lose your dear one. But there are certain times when you lose your dear one that you look at it with achievement, you discover that yes, since there is nobody who has been promised to live forever, everybody must die. There are certain times when somebody dies, say that okay, he died at the right time. He died at the time that we need to celebrate him, because the legacy he left behind is a very pleasant legacy. So Kokori, may his soul rest in peace, but Kokori left behind a legacy of that can cheer up everybody. And to level leaders of today, I doff my hat to them. They need to work hard. They have their challenges before them are enormous. The sophistication of the employer is every day getting more and more sophisticated, and they cannot afford to be left behind.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ma.
It was an interesting conversation I had with you.
Thank you very much.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.